Hello, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about different components of data communication. So let's look at the agenda. First, I will tell you about the block diagram and explanation of the different components of data communication, and then I will go and look into communication protocol. So this is the block diagram representation of a data communication system. As seen from the diagram, a data communication system consists of 5 major building blocks. Now what are they? They are the source, number 2, transmitter, number 3, transmission system, number 4, receiver, and number 5, destination. Now the source is the entity that generates the information. And this information must be passed through a transmitter to be made compatible with the transmission system through which the information should be passed. So the second entity of the data communication system is the transmitter part. The next part is the transmission system. It is the path through which the data actually moves in the form of electromagnetic signals. At the end of the transmission system, we have the receiver, which converts the received signal into a format to be understandable by the destination. So the fourth component is the receiver and the fifth component is the destination. Now together, the source and the transmitter comprise the sender system, and this receiver and the destination comprise the destination system. An example of source can be a workstation. It can also be a PC. It can be a laptop, etc. Now this source actually generates zeros and ones, if we consider it to be a PC, workstation, or laptop. Now the zeros and ones cannot be passed through the transmission medium. These zeros and ones must be converted to a signal, which is known as the electromagnetic signal, to be passed through the transmission system. In order to do that, we convert this data into a signal with the help of this transmitter. This transmitter can be a modem. Modem is the full form of modulation and demodulation. We will learn more about modulation and demodulation in the later videos. Now, once the signal is generated, it can pass through the transmission medium. An example of transmission medium can be a public telephone network. It can also be optical fiber or microwave link, or it can also be coaxial cable or twisted pair cable, etc. There are various forms of transmission medium. We can have guided transmission medium as well as unguided transmission medium. Accordingly, the signal must be transformed to that form which is compatible by the particular transmission medium that we are using. Now, at the other end of the transmission medium, we have the receiver, which receives the electromagnetic signal, and with the help of, again, the modem, it converts the signal back to the data format of zeros and ones to be received by the destination computer. The destination can be a server, it can be a PC, it can be a laptop. So this is the block diagram representation of a data communication system. Let us now have the explanation. As explained, this source is the entity that generates the messages in the forms of zeros and ones. The transmitter converts the zeros and ones to electromagnetic signals. The transmission system is also known as a channel, or in other words, it is known as the link. Basically, when we talk about a channel, we talk about the frequency of operation of the signal. Many a times we change the channel of the television or radio. This simply means that we are changing the frequency of the signal of the TV or the radio. to get the particular station. Next, we have the receiver, which reconverts the electromagnetic signal to the original message of zeros and ones. Ultimately, the zeros and ones move to the destination, which is basically the receiving system. Next, we understand what a communication protocol is. A communication protocol basically is a set of rules that govern the process of data transfer. There are three elements of communication protocol. One is called the syntax. The second one is called the semantics. And the third one is called the timing. Syntax basically gives the format of the signal or the voltage levels of the signal that passes through the transmission medium. Semantics basically controls and coordinates data transmission process. And timing means the instant of data transfer. For synchronous communication, there must be a clock which indicates when a particular bit starts and when it ends, so that the source and the receiver are synchronized with respect to timing. These are some of the examples of communication protocol. We can have transmission control protocol or TCP. This is a very important protocol of TCP/IP protocol SOIT. This basically is a connection-oriented protocol that helps us how to transfer data between the source and the destination. Next, we have the Internet Protocol. It is also a protocol of TCP/IP protocol SOIT, and mainly it takes care of addressing. There are two types of IP. One is IP version 4 and the other one is IP version 6. Next is the User Datagram Protocol. It is also a protocol of TCP/IP protocol SOIT, and it is basically a connection-less protocol. For helping us to understand how the data transfer takes place between the two entities. Next is the Post Office Protocol or POP. It is basically used for email retrieving and sending. Simple Mail Transport Protocol, SMTP, is also an email protocol, and its newer version is MIME, Multipurpose Internet Mail Extension, that supports text, audio, video, ASCII character. Next, we have the File Transfer Protocol or FTP. This is basically used to retrieve any file over the internet from one computer, from one PC to another. Then we have Hypertext Transfer Protocol or HTTP. This protocol is used to retrieve web documents over the internet. Now, there are various types of web documents. We can have static web document. We can have dynamic web document or active web document. Last but not the least is the Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure or HTTPS. It is the secure version of the HTTP protocol. Here I come to the end of this video. In this video, we have learned about the various components of data communication. We have seen that there are 5 major building blocks, starting from the source, then transmitter, then transmission medium, then the receiver and the destination, and we have looked into their functionality as well. Lastly, we have looked into the communication protocol, the meaning of communication protocol, the various elements of communication protocol, and we have looked into some of the example communication protocols. Thank you.